Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Anne here. Today I want to address a very important question that I get from many of you who watch my YouTube videos on this channel and who I've connected with on social media. This is a topic that is very close to my heart, something that I have some personal experience with, and I think it's an important topic that we should talk about, especially if you are learning English. I'm going to be sharing an article with you today relating to this topic. Now, before we get into this article, which I think it's worth reading, I really encourage you to stick around till the end of this video. I'm going to try to make it short and to the point. I really hope that through this video, you will learn something that maybe you've never thought about before, and that it will help you to think more critically when it comes to learning English and trying to work on your pronunciation. I was inspired to do today's video for a few reasons. One, because I myself was declined an English language teaching job in Taiwan because the students' parents thought that I didn't look American enough. And the second reason is because I've been getting a lot of comments from English learners here on YouTube and also on my social media pages, with comments something like, your English is good, you speak English fluently, where are you from? Are you a native speaker? Also, I've been having meaningful conversations with other English teachers about these issues and, hearing about their experiences. And I feel that as an English teacher, I have a responsibility and it's my duty to share what I know about these issues with you, to share the information with you, and just to empower you as an English learner, to give you a different perspective, to think about some of the things that you've been struggling with on this journey to learning English. Maybe you might not think that this is important, but I hope that you will take this information and just put it in the back of your head, and maybe everything will make sense one day. So with that said, I'm going to ask you a question here. If someone speaks English with an accent, does this mean that he or she is not a native speaker? Keep this question in mind. I'm going to share with you some information that I've gathered from my research and also from speaking with other English teachers. The first thing here is there are many different types of accents in the US spoken by American native speakers. Just to name a few, there are New Yorkers accents, there are Southern accents, there are Californian accents. So just in America alone, there are about 30 major dialects. One very important thing to note here is that Americans speak dialects of English based on the region where they grew up and not how they look. So if you think about your native language, I'm sure there are many different dialects and probably different accents as well. And where these accents come from is the region where the person grew up. Now, understanding this concept, if we apply this to English, we can think about, why are people biased? Why do people think that there's only one standard American English accent? People often tend to think or associate English with a particular sound, with a particular accent, with a particular look. The question to ask ourselves is, do people have to speak English with a particular accent and look a certain way to be considered as a native speaker? Who is a native speaker? These are really important questions that I strongly encourage you as an English learner to think about more deeply, especially if you have this thinking that native speakers should have a particular look. They should speak English with a particular accent. Now, I want to share an excellent article with you that I came across a couple of months ago. If you'd like to follow along, pause this video, click the link below, and you can find the article. The author of this article is an immigrant journalist in the US, and I think she was originally from India. But her native language is English along with two other Indian languages. And so, living in the US, being a journalist, you have to have a pretty good command of the English language. But when she speaks English, she does speak with a little bit of the accents influenced by her two Indian languages. So what happened was a lot of people would question, be doubtful, and make comments about her English, from an Uber driver to her fellow colleagues, journalists. So people would question her like, oh, did you write English back at home? Who edits your paper to make sure that it's not wrong? Or she would get comments from strangers like, oh, you speak English fluently, you speak English very well. It got to a point where it drove her to ask the question, who is a native speaker? And to just come to terms with the situations that she's been experiencing, she reached out and contacted a couple of linguists just to learn more about this. In this article, she pointed out several important points from a linguist perspective, and I'm going to share some of these with you here. If you have the article and you want to follow along, I'm going to read this little section here where the linguist Nicholas from Georgetown University talks about or defines the term native speaker. The term native speaker is an implication of someone who has internalized a language rather than learning it deliberately. And when you're born, your brain has plasticity. That means that it is flexible. Linguists believe that you are receptive to any language in the world, and no one is biologically inclined to one language over the other. So this means that a native speaker of a language would automatically know how to use a word in a sentence, even if they haven't encountered a similar situation before. And so he gives an example here of a native English speaker would know to use this continued and not uncontinued. This also means that it is possible for someone to have more than one native language, and that a child can learn any number of languages natively when exposed to them before the age of 6. Nicholas, the linguist from Georgetown University, also stated that the discrimination of people belonging to different races and backgrounds, particularly their accent or sentence structure, was born out of identity politics and preconceived notion and doesn't necessarily have a scientific basis. I think he made a very good point here that accent discrimination, or people having questions and doubts about other people's English ability because of the way they speak or because of the way they look, really happens because of people discriminating, people forming their opinions, but it doesn't necessarily have any scientific basis. Here are a few very important points about accent discrimination and racism that the linguist Nicholas pointed out. The first point is accents are usually a product of all the languages that you're exposed to. The second important point is anyone who is trying to distinguish or put you outside a language block because of your accent is using a criterion that is not linguistic but racial. The last point here is when people get into this discussion about whether you have an accent and if that makes you a native speaker, what they're basically doing is saying you talk funny. Simply put, it is racism. Now, having this understanding and knowing these concepts, the message here that I want to share with you is that we are all different. We were all born in different countries. We all grew up in different regions. And it's important that we embrace who we are. but at the same time, we need to respect other people's differences. And if you're learning English and you notice that you're speaking English with a foreign accent, don't be embarrassed, don't feel ashamed, and don't let that stop you from communicating with people in English. But instead, work on your pronunciation. You don't need to speak English in a particular way or with a particular accent. But what you need to work on is your pronunciation. Make sure you are pronouncing words correctly and accurately, and you are enunciating words clearly that people are able to understand you when you speak. Now, you have a choice. If you have been learning English for a while, you are able to pronounce words correctly, accurately, you are able to speak English fluently and communicate with other people, but you still have a foreign accent when you speak English and you want to work on that accent, by all means do it. Go for it. Regardless if you speak English with a foreign accent or not, what's important is that you are comfortable, you are happy, you are confident with your voice in English. And that is something that nobody should ever make fun of you, judge you, criticize you, or make negative comments about your English accent. The last thing here that I really want to emphasize is that language is a tool for communication. It's not used to discriminate and outcast people. So we should use it to talk, to connect, to discuss and express our ideas with other people. I hope this video has given you a different perspective to view and think about accent, think about discrimination, and to think about English and who is a native speaker. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you have any comments, you have personal experience you want to share, let me know down in the comments. I love to hear from you. And that's it for this video. If you know someone who could benefit from this video, please share this video with them. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and tap on the bell notification. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.